Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into that internal struggle, aren't we? The one you've probably felt. Why is it so hard to just start working on a big goal? Especially something like, say, getting fluent in English. You sent over a whole stack of really interesting research stuff on motivation, procrastination, learning psychology, and honestly, the message that jumps out is pretty stark.
Yeah, it seems the biggest hurdle isn't really about lacking the know-how or the time or even talent, right?
Exactly. It boils down to this fear of starting before things feel, I don't know, perfect. So our mission today, it's to give you a kind of shortcut through that initial resistance. We're distilling this core truth from the sources. Time's going to pass anyway. That's a given. The only real choice you have is whether you spend that time actually doing something or just waiting.
And that realization about time, I think that's really the crucial starting point. We tend to think time will sort of wait for us, until the calendar clears up or we feel perfectly motivated.
Yeah, like it'll pause.
But it doesn't. It just keeps rolling forward, doesn't it? Whether we feel ready or not, or if our mood is right, it just goes.
It reminds me of that classic example. Maybe we all know someone like this, or maybe sometimes it's us. The friend in the research who wanted to learn guitar.
Oh, right. Yeah.
For years, it was always, oh, I'll start when I get the perfect amplifier, or
Yeah.
maybe one day when the kids are a bit older, or when work calms down.
And of course, work never really calms down, does it? Life often just gets busier.
Yeah.
And what actually happens? Years slip by. The guitar, still sitting there, probably gathering dust. That waiting, that putting it off, it is usually driven by fear, isn't it? Fear of failing, maybe fear of looking a bit silly.
But the research makes this really strong point, almost challenging, I guess.
Huh.
It argues that the feeling of regret is actually like fundamentally heavier than the feeling of failure.
Yeah.
That feels a bit backwards at first, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because failing now feels immediate. It's embarrassing today. So why is that future possibility of regret supposed to be stronger than the pain I feel right now if I mess up?
Well, I think it's because failure, even when it feels pretty awful in the moment, it actually does something useful. You can think of failure almost like getting data back.
Data. Oh,
Yeah, it gives you lessons, right?
Yeah.
Experience, clarity. You tried something, okay, it didn't quite work out the way you planned, but now you have some idea why. You can adjust things, maybe try a different approach. You'll be stronger next time. Failure is sort of temporary, and it helps you correct course. Regret, though, that's different. It's kind of
Yes.
heavy.
Mhm.
It can be paralyzing because it doesn't give you useful data. It just sits there weighing you down with all the what ifs. You end up spending all this mental energy just replaying scenarios that never even happened simply because you were too scared to make the leap. Whether that was sitting for that tough exam or putting your hat in the ring for that intimidating job, or even just asking someone an important question.
It's like the mental weight of possibilities you let slip away.
Precisely. And there was that anecdote in the sources, wasn't there, from the palliative care nurse?
Oh, yeah, that was powerful.
She spent years working with people nearing the end of their lives, and she noticed this really clear pattern in what they talked about, what they reflected on.
And it wasn't about the big mistakes they'd made along the way, was it?
No, overwhelmingly it wasn't. They didn't really fixate on the failures or the times they stumbled. Their biggest, most common, most painful regret was about the chances they never took. They wished they'd just been a bit braver. Wished they'd tried the things they genuinely wanted to do, even if it meant maybe looking a bit foolish for a while. That, I think, is the ultimate proof that doing nothing, because you're afraid, is the real loss in the long term.
Okay, so we've kind of identified the real enemy here. It's not time slipping away, it's fear. But it's often wearing a disguise, right? And that disguise is perfectionism. We hear that word a lot, but what does it really mean when the sources say perfectionism is fear in disguise?
It's basically fear being judged, but it's dressed up nicely. Perfectionism whispers in your ear, oh, you can't start this yet. You need to be able to do it perfectly first, which, let's be honest, is often just a really clever excuse to stay put.
Right, to not do the messy part.
Exactly. It stops you from entering that messy but absolutely necessary learning phase. And this links directly to that main psychological block, particularly when you're learning a language, that fear of making a mistake, saying a word wrong, getting the grammar tangled up, and maybe feeling judged by someone who speaks it fluently.
Oh, I totally feel that. I mean, think about school mistakes meant red marks, points off. How do you even begin to undo years of that kind of conditioning? How do we actually adopt this radical idea that failure isn't just okay, but it's actually needed for success.
We have to sort of retrain our brains to see mistakes differently, see them as evidence, proof that you're actually in the game, you're trying things out.
Like data points, like you said.
Exactly like data points. Every little error is a chance to learn something specific that someone just passively watching from the sidelines will never grasp. Failure isn't the opposite of success. The sources argue it's a fundamental part of the journey to success. Just look at how a baby learns to talk, right? They don't sit down with grammar books.
No.
They listen, they try to copy sounds, they make thousands of absolutely hilarious, wonderful mistakes, and gradually the sounds and the patterns start to connect. They learn through doing it over and over imperfectly.
That comparison to physical skills makes so much sense. Like learning to ride a bike. You don't just hop on and glide away perfectly.
Yeah.
You wobble, you probably fall off a few times, you make adjustments, and then eventually you get the hang of it. But you absolutely had to go through the wobbly falling stage first.
Precisely. And maybe the most crucial thing you can start doing right now is managing that voice inside your head. The research strongly suggests cutting out that negative self-talk.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Stop saying things like, oh, my English is terrible, or I'm just awful at this. Instead, consciously change that script inside your head. Tell yourself, I am learning, I'm improving every single day.
That subtle shift, focusing on the process of learning rather than some fixed idea of ability, it's incredibly powerful.
Okay, but what about the person listening who feels like maybe that ship has sailed? Maybe they feel they're a bit older now, or they think, gosh, I should have started this 5, maybe 10 years ago. They might feel like they need permission to start late. And for that feeling, I think we need that amazing, kind of messy, but really inspiring story of Colonel Sanders. We all know KFC, right? But the story behind it is what's so relevant here. Oh, absolutely. His story just completely demolishes the idea that it can ever be too late to start something. When he really got KFC going, he was well into his 60s.
60s.
Yeah. And before that, he had had a whole string of jobs that didn't quite work out, failures even. By any normal measure, he probably should have been thinking about retirement, definitely not launching a global fast food chain.
Right. Most people in that situation would probably think, okay, my chance is passed. It's too late. Time to just relax and accept things.
But he decided his chicken recipe was something special, something worth sharing. And he didn't just try to sell it locally. He literally drove around the country trying to convince restaurant owners to use his recipe, often just on a handshake agreement. And here's the really critical part. People didn't just say yes right away. It wasn't even quick. The story goes he was rejected over 1,000 times before he finally got the yes that launched everything.
Over 1,000 times.
Yeah.
That's incredible persistence.
Think about that level of resilience, facing that much rejection. It just proves that success isn't about being perfect when you begin. It's about showing up again and again, imperfectly. Relentless action.
His story really sums up this whole idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You don't need to be amazing to start, but you absolutely have to start if you ever want to become amazing. That first step is always going to feel a bit clumsy.
Absolutely. So, okay, hopefully we've helped convince you that the real goal here is progress, not perfection. Let's shift gears now and talk about, well, what can you actually do? What are the practical steps? Since consistency beats perfection every time, how do we weave these small, maybe messy actions into everyday life? We really need to embrace the power of tiny steps. It's easy to dismiss doing something for just 10 minutes because it feels insignificant.
Yeah, like what's the point?
But the math, when you look at it, is compelling. Practicing English for just 10 minutes every day, or reading just, say, 2 pages of a book, it adds up. Over a year, that 10 minutes a day is over 60 hours of focused practice. Those 2 pages a day become over 700 pages read. That's real, solid progress built entirely from tiny, manageable, imperfect daily efforts.
That completely reframes it, doesn't it? Instead of this huge mountain you have to conquer in one go, it's like a path you just walk a few steps on every single day.
Like watering a plant.
Yeah, that consistent daily habit is what makes it grow strong over time.
And for anyone focusing specifically on language fluency, the research offers some really practical techniques for kind of low-stress immersion you can start immediately. The first one is super simple, almost a no-brainer. Change your phone's language settings to English.
Right now.
Right now. Think how many times a day you glance at your phone. Just seeing those common word settings, messages, call over and over again builds familiarity without you even really trying. It's painless exposure.
Okay, that's passive learning, which is great. But the next step needs a bit more active effort. The thinking shift.
Yes, and this is a big sticking point for many learners. They get caught trying to translate everything word for word from their native language inside their head.
Which is slow and awkward.
Exactly. It creates this massive delay. The goal is to start thinking directly in English, even if it's just simple words and sentences right from the beginning. You don't need to be composing Shakespeare in your head. Start small. Simple observations. If you're driving, think. That car is blue. I am driving. Making breakfast. I am making coffee. The toast is ready. It's basic, it's immediate, and it trains your brain to bypass that translation step.
I remember feeling a bit silly doing that at first, like narrating my own life out loud. I'm washing the dishes now. But the research totally supports it, right? You need to get your mouth and brain working together without the pressure of someone listening.
That self-talk, that narration is so important. Active speaking practice is absolutely key. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Pretend you're telling a friend about your day. Describe what you see out the window. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use those language pathways, the stronger and more automatic they become. And another tip from the sources, don't underestimate reading out loud.
Yeah.
Actually saying the words while you see them creates much stronger connections in your brain than just reading silently. It engages multiple senses.
Okay, so those are the daily habits, the consistent practice. But what about that moment, that real-time conversation? Someone asks you something, and you feel that familiar panic start to rise, that brain fog descending. How do we stop that hesitation from completely shutting us down?
Yes. For that, the research points to the brilliant simplicity of the 3-second rule. It sounds basic, but it's a really effective psychological trick.
Okay, how does the 3-second rule work?
When you have an urge to say something in English, or when someone asks you a question, you give yourself exactly 3 seconds. Count it. 1, 2, 3. And you just speak. You have to consciously push past that internal editor screaming, "Wait! Is the grammar perfect? What will they think?"
Just jump in.
Yes. Because waiting longer than those 3 seconds, that's when self-doubt really digs in. It gives nervousness the time it needs to take over. But if you commit to speaking within that short window, you're prioritizing actually communicating, moving forward over achieving some impossible standard of perfection.
And the key thing is, people usually will understand, won't they? You don't need super complex words or flawless sentences to get your point across. Simple words, spoken with a bit of courage, often do the job just fine. Okay, so let's just quickly pull the main threads together from this deep dive. Time keeps moving, whether we act or not. That's non-negotiable. Failure. It's not the end. It's temporary. It's useful feedback, actually essential for getting better.
Right. Part of the process.
And real progress. It's built entirely on taking those imperfect steps, consistently, every day, not waiting until you feel perfectly ready.
And we really want to bring this back to you, the listener, right here, right now. Thinking about this is good, but reflection without action.
Well, it's just kind of like daydreaming, isn't it? The whole point of this is to empower you to take immediate action. So ask yourself this specific question. What is one small thing, just one, that I can do today? Something that takes less than, say, 10 minutes. Maybe it's just saying one sentence in English out loud to yourself. Maybe it is changing your phone language setting right now, or writing one single paragraph for that project you've been putting off. Just take that first slightly messy step.
And maybe we can leave you with this final thought to chew on. Picture yourself a year from now. The biggest difference between the you today and the you in 12 months. It probably won't be how much more you know. It'll likely be the courage you found today to take that first, maybe awkward, definitely imperfect step. So the question is, will your future self look back and thank you for starting? Or will they regret that you kept waiting? Start now.